Tonight, I have a really interesting topic for you. And I want you to just take a second to imagine that you are a teenager in high school and you have watched
I have a really interesting topic
social
for you.
media
And I want you to just take a second.
and you've seen the school shootings and all the uproar about gun laws and things like that. And all of a sudden you become scared to go to school. What do you do about that? And how do you help your teenagers um, to deal with that? So tonight I just want to take a look at that. And I want to invite you to join in on that conversation with me. I am Dillard, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, specializing in work with teenagers. And tonight I want to share with you 6 ways to help your teenager deal with the school shootings. I'm just going to take a second to see if anyone has joined us yet. Nicole, I'm glad you're here. Yes. Hope you can join in on this conversation because this is causing fear in our teenagers all over the country. And Pamela, I'm here. I'm glad you're here. Lila, I'm glad you're here. And just take a minute to share this video out so that others can join in this dialogue with us tonight. Again, I'm going to be talking about 6 ways to help your teenager deal with school shootings. And I would love to get your input. So take a second just to share this out into your community. And I will share it also with my group. So this is a really important conversation. And as I speak with different therapists, we're talking about how to help our clients work through this difficult time, because it's really a scary time for our kids. Sherdine, I'm glad you're here all the way from Jamaica. I'm glad you're joining us. So how do we work through it, and how do we help our kids navigate this topic of school shootings? Well, I'm gonna again share with you 6 tips to help your teenager deal with this. First is to really normalize it. And when I say normalize it, what I mean is to let your teenager know that everyone has fears and concerns, right? They're not alone. This is not, they don't have to be isolated in their fears about this topic or any other fears for that matter. And so normalize it and let them know that they are not alone. And also give them examples of your own fears. Don't scare them or overwhelm them with your fears, but share examples of your own fears with them so that they know that as adults, we also become scared and concerned about things that's happening in society. And we don't always have the answers, but we're committed to getting up from day to day and try to come up with a solution. Number 2, I would say listen. A lot of times and I know I'm guilty of this, sometimes when our kids bring up concerns, a lot of times we can be really dismissive of those concerns. Oh, nothing's going to happen to you, or your school is safe, or that doesn't happen in our school or in our community. But try not to be dismissive of your child's concern, but provide a place where he or she can talk about it, can share and be comfortable sharing with you about it. And if you are not equipped to talk to your child about this, then find somebody in the community who he or she can talk to, right? And encourage them to talk about it. Also, on that same note, as listening, watch what you say and how you talk about it, because a lot of times, you know, we're as adults, we're on the phone and we're talking to our friends and we're very passionate and engaged in our conversations, and our kids, they're hearing it. And so we can help develop more fears in them than they actually started out with. So watch what you say and who you're saying it to, and how much you're talking about it, how much you're engaging in social media about it, and how much you're playing the TV, the news station. You know, some people have CNN on around the clock and things like that. But I would really strongly encourage you to watch how much of that you are exposing your child to in your home. Okay, I'm just going to take a second to acknowledge our guests who are joining us. Sister Sandy, I'm glad you're here. Just say hello so that I know that you're still with us. Hey, Cordero, welcome. Hey, Donna, I'm glad you're here. Say hello so I know you're still with us. Hi, Aaron. I'm glad to see you. Hi, Dawn. Hey, Mika. Hi, Amber. I'm glad you all are here joining us with Teen Talk Live. Again, today our topic is sharing 6 ways to help your teenager deal with the school shootings. And if you all have something to contribute to this conversation, drop it in the comments. And I would love to dialogue with you on this topic. And please do me a favor and share this, because this is a really important topic to discuss about what's happening in our country around school shootings. Hey, Javante, I'm glad you're here too. So far I shared 2 things. Normalize it. Let your child know that everybody has fears, and so they're not alone about it. And share what you know, a time when you were scared and things that you might be afraid of. And listen, provide a forum where they are free to talk, and also pay attention to what you're saying and how you're engaging in conversation about the school shootings. Number 3, encourage them to tell someone. And what do I mean when I say tell someone? Hey, Javante, we're talking about school shootings, and if you have any comments, please drop it in the comment section and share this out. So tell someone. A lot of times I work in the schools, and I see kids and I listen to kids, and they're talking about, well, that person is weird or something weird happened. Encourage your child to trust their instincts, to trust their feelings, and to share it with an adult. So if they hear somebody talk about something that is not in the ordinary, or if they see somebody act in a certain way that's not usual, or if they know of someone who's being bullied, whether it's being bullied at school or it's being cyberbullied, encourage them to share that and to talk about it, because a lot of times what we're finding out is that it's these children who have been, in a lot of cases, who have been bullied, who have been isolated, who have been mistreated, who retaliate in violent ways like we're seeing. Okay, so encourage them to tell, encourage them to talk about it, encourage them to observe things that are out of the ordinary. And in doing this, what we're doing is we are building resilience in our children. And so, they can cope better. Children with stronger resilience can cope better, and they can get through these trials and these struggles that they're faced with in today's society. Okay. So number 4, talk to school admin. Go up to your child's school. If your child is afraid, go to their school, talk to their administration, find out what's their plan, what precautionary measures are they taking in light of these school shootings, and what's their policies, and make sure that your child know that the adults in their lives, they're taking steps to help prevent things like this from happening over and over. Okay. The other thing, number 5, if they start to show signs of distress, if your child starts to show signs of distress or evidence of what I would consider to be like secondary post-traumatic stress, then get some help. And what would that look like? All of a sudden, they don't want to go to school anymore. They're having stomach aches and they're having headaches and they're nauseous. Pay attention to their sleep patterns and their eating patterns and see what's changed. Also look at their motivation. Are they all of a sudden not motivated to go to school, not motivated to learn? They might be feeling sad and withdrawn. So look at those behaviors and those patterns that might be showing up. Also look at, are they doing things at school to get suspended so that they don't have to be at school? Look at those behaviors closely and don't ignore them. A lot of times we have a tendency to just ignore them and say, you better get it together, you better get it right, and not necessarily pay attention to what those behaviors are telling us, because behaviors tell us something, right? So Javante has a comment and I'm going to read. He says, yes, because students are very careful with who they tell on because it might be their friend and you never know what their friend can do to them, which will be very, very skeptical. Okay, I totally understand that. And so parents, teachers, or whoever is watching this, hey, Tony, welcome. If a child shares with you, that something like this is happening, or they feel unsafe, or they're not comfortable with something, be careful how you disclose that information, because sometimes in us as adults sharing that information, we do get them in more trouble and put them in a dangerous predicament. Like Javante said, sometimes they might not want to tell because their friends are the ones that's doing it, and they feel threatened by what the repercussion may be. Hey, Chris, welcome. And so if your child tells you something and you're going to go tell the principal, have a conversation in a way where it's not disclosed, or the principal is careful to protect your child's identity. That is so, so, so very important. Hey, Toya, welcome. Again, for those of you who are just joining us tonight on Teen Talk Live, we are talking about 6 ways to help teens deal with the school shootings, right? And if you have any comments or have any experiences with this, with your children, please jump in. It's gonna be a short session tonight, but I want it to be engaging. So jump in if you have any comments, and I'll try to piggyback around to discuss your comments, okay? All right, so what I was saying is look for those physiological evidence of secondary post-traumatic stress, which looks like stomach ache, headache, sleep disruption, eating disruption, lack of motivation, change in behavior, maybe become really quiet and withdrawn, or maybe they're acting out at school as a desire to get suspended, to not be in school anymore. So pay attention to all of those things. And what do you do when you notice those things? Get professional help. It is very important and very necessary that you get professional help sooner than later, because these things then manifest into becoming like developing anxieties, or they might develop depression around that. So please make sure don't be afraid to get professional help. Talk to the school counselor. And sometimes there's counseling available in a lot of schools. So make sure you pay attention, be observant, and get help. The sixth thing that I would say, hey Illy, welcome. Hey Daryl, I'm glad you're here. The sixth thing that I would say, or sixth way, again, we're talking about ways to help your child, your teenager with the school shootings, deal with that. Is to build your child's toolbox of calming skills. So talk about things that you do when you're afraid. What are some of the things that you can do? Help them to navigate that. Help to build their toolbox of calming skills. And so what does that look like? So a lot of us, you believe in prayer, teaching them how to pray and helping them to know that, yes, it's okay to pray. And I would say, yes, it's okay to pray, or pray for your child. My husband and I, we prayed for our children every day before they went out the door. We would pray for them and cover them so they understood that where our faith lies. And so pray for them, but also give them tools to integrate with their belief system. And the tools that I'm talking about are tools like teaching them how to journal, right? Journal their feelings. And it depends on the age of the child. I focus on teenagers, but it depends on the age of the child. Drawing will be helpful. So giving them a sketch pad. And please, 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 if they put images in there that's scary, don't just fly off the handle and be totally alarmed, because they are getting those images out of their minds and they're putting it on paper. So guard that. And again, if the images are alarming, get some help, but give them an outlet, a way to get that out of their minds. They might not be able to express it verbally, but they might be able to do it in drawings, especially younger children. They might be able to do it better in drawings. So we talked about the toolbox, having prayer, having a journal that they can write and help them to deal with that, having drawing or a sketch pad to help them with navigate that, and also breathing, helping your child breathe, teach them how to breathe when they become, say, for example, they're sitting in their classroom and they're becoming really nervous and really scared, or the school bell might scare them, or the loud noises might scare them. So teach them different breathing techniques to help them through that, because when we become scared, what happens is we cut off the oxygen from our brain. And if we're not getting proper oxygen to our brain, we cannot make good decisions, right? And so we'll end up saying and doing things because we're operating from the lowest part of our brains when we're in a frightening situation or when we become anxious. Hey Susan, welcome. Another thing is giving them a grounding tool. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to show you my bracelet, and each of my clients and each of the girls that I work with, I give them one of these bracelets. And so it's something that they can use. Hey, Bill, I'm glad you're here. So this bracelet, I teach them how to use it. It kind of, when you rub on it, you can rub on the beads. It's just a cute bracelet. Nobody knows that you're using it for grounding, but it's something that you can rub on. You can use them as prayer beads, or you can use them to help remind you to breathe in. I teach my girls how to breathe in when they rub one bead, breathe out when they rub the other bead. And it helps to remind you where you are and ground you into where you are, so you can be present with your thoughts and your mind, right? So that's one thing that I use as a grounding tool. Some people have a rock, and some of my clients, I would give them a rock to put in their pockets, so that they can rub on it. And I remember I had a few clients who really got really anxious as they walked through the hallways at school, because it was loud and it's a lot of kids coming at you. And so I would give them a little rock to put in their pocket, and they just rub on it. They repeat their mantra, they pray, they remember to breathe, but help them to ground and get through those situations. So I'm just gonna take a second to check the comments here, see if anybody else have comments about this topic that we're talking about today. Oh, I'm glad you and Bill are here too, Susan. Thank you for joining us. So I don't know if you heard our topic for today, but we're talking about 6 ways to help your teenager deal with these school shootings, and to help them process that and give them the proper skills. So why is it important that we're not dismissive? It's important that we take this seriously and not be dismissive of our teenagers' expressions about this, because one of the statistics, let me read it to you, is that major depressive disorder is the leading cause of disability in America in people ages 15 to 44. Over 15 million people are diagnosed each with major depressive disorder. And major depressive disorder can be really debilitating. So, when you see these things coming on, it's good to help build resilience in your child so that it doesn't develop into anxiety, it doesn't develop into depression or major depressive disorder. Hey, Regina, I'm glad you're here with us tonight. So we help build resilience in our children by doing some of these things, by acknowledging, by listening. And I'll review my 6 steps, my 6 ways again. And when we build resilience, the difference between 2 children or 2 young people being able to get through an episode or a traumatic episode is really the resilience that they have. That resilience is built through relationship, and it's built through, paying attention and also addressing these issues and not just being dismissive of them. Yes, Regina, we're talking about the 6 ways to help teens deal with the school shootings. And if you have anything that you want to add, please feel free to drop it in the comments. So again, let me review. Number 1, normalize it. Let your child know that people are afraid, yes, and it's normal to be scared, especially after such a traumatic event. It's normal to be scared. So let your child know that, and share instances with them about a time when you were scared and how did you handle your fears, because you had to keep going. How did you handle that? So share that with your child, okay? And number 2, listen and provide a safe space where your child can talk about it. Don't be dismissive of their feelings, and give them the okay to talk about it. Because sometimes we'll say, oh no, that's not gonna happen. You never saw that in our community, and things like that. So don't be dismissive. Affirm that their fear is valid, and give them space to talk about it. Encourage them to tell. And Javante had made a really good comment. He's like, sometimes teens are afraid to tell because because they are afraid of the repercussions, and it might be their friends who are doing these things, but help them to be observant of things that seem out of the ordinary, weird, not normal, and to express that to an adult. And if you, the parent, are the one, if you're the one that's going to talk to the school administration, do it in a way that protects your child's identity, and have that agreement with admin that your child's identity must be protected. Okay? Because a lot of times children won't tell because they're afraid of repercussions. All right. And then the next thing we talked about is talk to the school administration, find out what are they doing, what are the precautionary measures that they're taking, and have they shared that with the students? Is everybody on board? And that will help your child to know that they're being taken care of, they're being looked out for. Okay. And if they start to show signs of anxiety, or their fear starts to manifest physiologically, which I contribute to secondary post-traumatic stress, which will show up in the form of like stomach aches, headache, avoidance, not wanting to go to school, or going to school and causing a disruption so they get sent home. Get professional help before it becomes something more serious. All right. And 6, build a toolbox of resilience, the calming skills, prayer, journaling, drawing, breathing, and grounding activities. So help your child manage these symptoms. Help your child talk about these fears before they become something more serious. All right. So if you are watching, I want to invite you to share this out to your audience, because somebody might just need to hear what we're talking about. So share it out to your audience. And if you're watching on the replay, just hit replay and share it with your audience. So I'm just going to ask you all if you have any comments or you have any question. All right, Regina, you say I'll add. Let them know you love them and stand with them, governing their decisions. Yes, 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 yes. That is so important that that we share that with our children, that we do love them and we'll stand with them and we'll help them in whatever decisions that they make. Because sometimes if they feel alone, they'll be less likely to take action, right? Or to say anything. That's a really good point. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Anybody else want to add? Feel free to drop it in the comment section so that we can get this message out to our audience. Make sure you share this video out so that people can see it. And it might just help somebody whose child is having a difficult time dealing, or somebody might be having a difficult time themselves dealing with all this school shootings and these traumatic events that's happening in our country. All right, so again, I'm Ann Dillard, and I'm glad to be here. I just wanted to pop on for a short period to share with you these 6 tips. And I encourage you, hey Velvet, glad you joined us. I encourage you to share it out with your community, because we need to get the word out and we need to be able to help people work through these difficulties, and to help their children or their teens work through these difficulties. And so I thank you so much for joining us tonight on Teen Talk Live, where we transform the minds and lives of teens and those who love them. Again, this has been Teen Talk Live, and we talked today about 6 ways to help teens deal with the school shootings. Share it out. I love you. Thank you for joining, and follow me on our Facebook page at KIP Consulting Services, LLC, or visit my website at www.andillard.com for more information. Have a great evening, and thank you for joining us.